Your personal development matters the most from where you are right now. Bring your career into new heights with our affordable and quality in-demand virtual training programs designed just for you. Give your career a boost with a course or a training from Stellar Training Consultancy Services and join thousands of professionals from different walks of life in a learning and development session that fascinates you, motivates you, challenges you to learn new things that you'll use forever in a career you'll love. Find the right training for you today, here at Stellar Training Consultancy Services, bringing excellence to professionals.
Stellar Training Consultancy Services Vision and Mission. Vision. Stellar Training Consultancy Services envisions to provide quality, affordable, reliable, accessible, and innovative training programs in the Philippines, thereby increasing global competitiveness and career growth of every individual. Stellar Training Consultancy Services ultimately desires to provide learning and development to all communities and professionals while ensuring both professional and personal growth by the end of every program. Mission. Stellar Training Consultancy Services is dedicated and committed to provide high-quality, accessible, and professional development opportunities in the form of training, webinar, seminars, workshop, or conference. Stellar Training Consultancy Services training programs were created out of a strong passion, a shared vision, and a ceaseless commitment to making learning easily accessible from anywhere in the Philippines.
Panalangin bago magsimula ang pagpupulong. Panginoong Jesus, sinabi mo, kung saan may 2 o 3 nagkakatipon sa ngalan ko, kapiling nila ako. Panginoon, inihahandog namin sa iyo ang pagpupulong na ito. Gabayan mo kami sa aming pagtatalakayan at tanglawan mo ng liwanag ng Espiritu Santo ang aming mga isip upang makita namin ang naaayon sa iyong kalooban. Basbasan mo ang mga gagawin naming pagkilos at patnubayan kami sa bawat hakbang. Nagtitiwala kami na magiging maayos at mabunga ang aming pagtitipong ito. sapagkat narito ka sa aming piling. Amen.
Hello everyone, can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me and see me? Okay? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your responses here in the chat box. I would just like to adjust my audio para marinig ko rin kayo. Ayan. Sige po. Let me just share my screen. Okay, there you go. I hope you can all see my screen. I have already shared it now. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rio Fernandez, and I will be your resource speaker this evening or for tonight's training. Welcome to your training on RDM 105, Records Appraisal, Retention, and Disposal Management. So, kumusta naman po ang lahat? How is your Sunday? Kumusta naman po, Sir Alvin? Ayan. Would like to hear from you po, Sir Alvin. Kung kumusta po, you can just type in the chat box if you cannot make use of your microphone. Who else is here? Ma'am Gretchen, kumusta po? Okay lang. Gaano ba ka-okay ang okay, sir? Is it okay or okay? Productive Sunday. Ayan. Thank you, Ma'am Christina. I'm glad, no, na kahit time for rest, still you were able to do make the most out of your time. So, thank you po. How about someone else? How about Ma'am Deborah? Ayan, Ma'am Sir Ives Manuel. Ayan. Or anyone po na gustong mag-share dito sa ating chat box, you can just turn on your microphone. Yan. And maybe you can also raise your virtual hand para naman po mapansin namin. Okay naman po by Sir Ives. Thank you po. How about Ma'am Ludeline? Ang ganda ng background ni Ma'am Ludeline. Hello ma'am, good evening. Ma'am Valdoria, what a nice name. Okay na okay po. Maulan ang maghapon. Ayun. So, I'm glad na kahit maulan dyan, malakas yung internet connection. Dahil nakapag-reply talaga sa chat box si ma'am. Thank you po. Ma'am Ludeline and Sir Marvin are also doing well. So, I'm glad to hear that, no? And I hope that we are all ready and up for the training this evening. And let's move to the next slide. Here are the training rules. Please turn on your camera for the first 20 minutes of the duration of our training. Kindly wear proper clothing as well, since this will be recorded for quality management purposes. Another is be attentive and interactive. Ayun. So hopefully now you would be able to have an interactive session. I would learn from you and you'd also learn back from me. So it's a two-way process yung learning modality natin. And lastly, because we all come from different backgrounds, let's all respect everyone's thoughts and valuable experiences. Kung ano man po yung matutunan natin dito, hopefully we can share it, no? But for maybe some other topics like sensitive topics, let's welcome it, but hopefully it will stay here lang din in this session. Sorry po, nawawala ang connection. Ayun. Ayun na. Thank you, Ma'am Nudeline. This is also to be expected, no? Kapag online yung modality ng training. But we understand po and thank you for informing us ahead of time. Moving on to the program intended learning outcomes. Let's move to the first one. At the end of this training and webinar, you would be able to understand and appreciate the importance and the benefits of appraisal, disposal, and retention of documents in the organization where you belong currently. Another is that you'll be able to evaluate the records keeping structure and hierarchy of information management. You'll also be able to discover the law governing the records keeping in the Philippines by virtue of RA 9470, or otherwise known as National Archives of the Philippines Act of 2007. Another is you'll be able to review and remember the general records disposition schedule of National Archives of the Philippines, and be able to keep in mind the methods of document and records disposal, and be able to understand the fundamentals of records disposition. Okay, so let's begin our discussion with this question. No? How long do you keep your records and documents in the organization before disposal or archive? Okay, so how long do you keep your records? Sige po. Who would like to go first to share your experience regarding records keeping? Sir Alvin says, depende po sa document. Perfect. Very good answer. Thank you, Sir Alvin. This is on point, no? Hindi lahat ng documents the same yung level ng importance. Kaya tayo may hierarchy. Also, to keep confidentiality. And we'll be able to expound on that later on for our succeeding topics, subtopics. Sir Santos says, depende sa records and information value level. Perfect. Thank you po. Ayan. So, later on, mas magiging specific na siya. Instead of depende, we would be able to cite some examples. Like, for example, memos. So, specifically, ilang months, years, or ilan yung duration na pwede siyang magstay sa ating steel boxes or sa ating, well, EDRMS. If you already use EDRMS. Yan. Same po, depende sa documents. Thank you, Ma'am Christina, and for the rest of your answers. No? So let's move to the introductory part of our first topic, no? The records, appraisal, and disposal management. So, by definition, appraisal is the process of evaluating records to determine which are to be kept for specified periods, which will be destroyed, and which are to be retained as archives. So, sino po ba dito yung familiar with appraisal of documents and records? Meron na po ba kayong experience with training in terms of records management? Kasi especially sa government, no, maraming trainings for records management. Who among you here po yung nakapag-attend na, no, ng trainings with regards to records appraisal? Tignan ko lang po yung virtual answers. So far, wala pa akong nakikitang nag-raise ng virtual hand. So, maybe some of you, first time nyo pag-usapan yung appraisal and disposal, no? But because of your answers earlier, I got curious kung meron na ba kayong experience sa training in terms of records appraisal and disposal. So wala, but ginagawa nyo sa office by learning by doing, yan, kaya you can also apply it. Another is disposal normally means destruction of the record content, such as by recycling or burning the record medium. Wala pa pong proper training. Ayun. So, proper training, maybe ito yung meron talagang workshop and meron ding sort of test, quiz, or any type of application, no, na pwede nyong gawin on the spot. So, thank you, Ma'am Valdoria po. Maybe later on, you will have an experience with that. So, let's move on po to the next slide. What is the purpose of records appraisal and disposal? No, why do we do it? The aim of appraisal and disposal is to ensure that records are either destroyed or transferred to an archival institution at the right time. As a result of the systematic implementation of decisions made concerning the continuing utility and enduring value of the records. Each organizations are governed by either a national or independent appraisal and disposal policy. So this time now, I'd like to ask you kung meron kayong or are you aware of your appraisal and disposal policy? Meron po ba kayo nito sa office ninyo? Meron yan sa quality manual, no? But the question is, na-disseminate ba sa atin yung information and were we able to read it? Or are we handling records the way we think they should be handled? Yun yung question is. So, dapat yung organization basically merong appraisal and disposal policy. And from that policy comes our actions on how to handle our record. So, dapat yung ating policy din sa office in terms of appraisal and disposal in accordance with the National Archives of the Philippines or NAP or NAP as we abbreviate it. Okay? Sige po. So, hopefully, no, meron tayong appraisal and disposal policy. Ano ba usually nakalagay doon? So, nakalagay doon yung schedule, specifically ng mga types of documents, kung kailan lang sila pwedeng itapon na. And hindi sapat na merong approved policy, no? Dapat yung policy is communicated to the National Archives of the Philippines. So before we actually dispose those documents, we have to communicate with them. Kaya tayo may tinatawag na freedom of information. Dapat yung mga files sa organization natin accessible sa other agencies, like for example, DTI, DICT, right? Or NAP, National Archives of the Philippines. So, ilan lang sila. But, dapat meron din tayong records management unit that allows for accessible documents to the public and to other agencies. Ayan. And also, gagamitin natin itong accessibility for learnings, for benchmarking, and for other approved purposes. Yun. So, hindi naman po pwedeng basta na lang nila gamitin. May access sila, but at the same time, they have to still ask for permission, no, if they use that. Iba din naman yung records management unit natin for those confidential files, yung mga classified files na dapat yung office lang natin ang may hawak. So later on, we will discuss more about that, no, yung hierarchy ng records management or ng document. So, basic purpose lamang po nito is for all of us to know in the office, no, kahit ano pang posisyon natin, kung papaano mag-decide kung itatapon na ba ang document, kung ilalagay ba natin siya sa archive, or should we retain it for everyday use? Ayan. So later on, we will also know about the steps, no? Kung ano ba yung unang gagawin for this appraisal and disposal procedures. So now let's talk about the benefits of appraisal and disposal. We now know the purpose, right? It's definition, purpose. Now let's talk about the benefits. So first, we have compliance. Following records appraisal and disposal schedules approved by your agency, your organization, in accordance with NAP, helps to ensure compliance and efficiency of the organization and standardization as well. So of course, if it is found by auditing and standardization procedures na compliant yung ating organization, then of course, we will be recognized, no? Example is the ISO, the NAP, and for schools, PAKUKUWA, PAASKU. So those are some examples, no, of governing bodies. That helps us keep in track in terms of compliance, no, with national policies. Of course, these national policies are also regulated by Philippine legal provisions. Ayan, sa our Republic Acts natin. Another is that it helps in the preservation of historical information. Maybe today, next week, or next month, within the year, we do not need the document. But sooner or later, especially if meron tayong national event, regional event that will be held in our office or in the vicinity of our area or branch, then most likely, especially during anniversaries, hahanapin talaga natin yung historical information. So if that is not accessible because walang proper disposal schedule, hindi natin alam whether natapon na ba ang document or saan na napunta, right? Improper handling of records, then basically wala tayong magagamit for presentation and for other purposes, no, in terms of historical information. So it's very beneficial, really. Another is that it promotes productivity and output. So nakaka-relate talaga dito si Miss Christina. Tama ba? Ma'am Christina po ba yun? Yes, si Ma'am Christina. Yan. Promotes productivity and output, just like her Sunday. So, ano ba yung mga productive na manifestation na meron tayong proper records appraisal and disposal? Unang-una, yung time management, right? We would be able to commit to time management in the office kapag madali nating nahahanap ang isang document, or hindi na natin hahanapin because we already know where it is or whether it has been disposed. Ayan. And syempre, because we are productive, of course, that would result to good performance. So, with good performance comes good output. So, sa office namin, we follow the six piece metrics of output, no? Meron kaming publication, patent, product, places and partnerships, so and many more. Ayan. So these outputs, no, will be certainly followed. Another is that it lessens stress and fatigue of the office workers in the company. And this is already a no-brainer, no? Kapag alam natin paano mag-handle ng records properly, of course, this would allow us to have a smooth working condition in the office, less yung stress natin because of looking for documents. And we would save more energy that we can use to be more productive and finish other tasks na mas urgent, mas important. Ayan. Okay? Okay, let's talk more about benefits. Another is that it ensure official record systems are reliable and efficient. Ayan. So, when we speak of good customer service, of course, reliability and efficiency would not be the last on the list. Ito talaga yung at the top of the list, no, na criteria when it comes to good customer service. So ito din naman yung culture ng organization na gusto nating iparamdam, ipa-experience sa ating mga customers. That's why we have to have a good or a systematic records, appraisal, and disposal schedule. Another is that it reduces maintenance and storage costs. Imagine the paper, the amount of papers, the amount of ink that we will be wasting. We would always make use of another ink, another paper to make another document. So, kung po pwede namang ma-retrieve, bakit gagawa ng bago, right? So, nasasayang yung resources natin. Kaya, we have to be careful with appraisal and disposal. Another is demonstrate accountability and consistency in implementing destruction decision. So, accountability and consistency. Hindi po pwedeng feeling natin ngayon, dapat nang itapon yung document kasi hindi natin alam anong gagawin sa kanya. So, dapat we have to respect authority also, no? Yung actions na gagawin for the document should be based on the decision of the authority. Not because magaling na tayong mag-handle ng records, ilang taon na tayo sa work, no? At saka tayo yung in charge, hindi na tayo hihingi ng permission or decision from the authority. So very important. Just like how we communicate with National Archives of the Philippines. Just because we have a schedule approved, hindi na natin sila i-inform. We will no longer inform them once we dispose of a record. So we should still inform them, no? And just like in our organization, we should still inform the authority. It's either kung wala yung regional director or yung CO, then maybe there are assistant regional directors or your managers for that matter, vice president, no? Bibigyan lamang natin sila ng action slip, green slip, or whatever you may call it, maybe any type of slip that where they can write their action, and then you attach the document there sa action slip. Another is reduce the risk that sensitive or personal information will fall into the wrong hands. Yung sabi natin earlier na merong documents for FOI, anyone can access it as long as may permission ng records manager. And meron din dapat documents na sa atin lang. In the organization. So let's talk about the typical unit structure. Now, I don't know if you agree with this. For myself and sa experience ko, hindi ganito yung unit structure ng aming records unit. But this is the most typical one. So sino ba dito yung try to study it muna kung the same ba siya sa structure ng records unit ninyo. Yan. From the admin division ba, papuntang record section. And then yung record section na ba ang magdi-disseminate sa mail unit, current records unit, and storage unit. So, sino po ang nakaka-relate sa structure na ito? How about si Ma'am Valdoria po? And Ma'am Sir Marvin. Is this structure the same with your records unit structure po? Or if not, the Ma'am Valdoria, I encourage everyone to make use of their microphone and also their chat box, the chat box. Kasi 11 lang naman tayo dito. So hopefully, wag na tayong maghiyaan. Let's all learn from one another in within this 2 hours of training. So if hindi naman po ganito yung structure ng inyong records unit, Ano po yung masasuggest nyo na mas better? What about Ma'am Gretchen? Ayun. Oo nga, let's use our microphone, 'di ba, no? And chat box din. No problem po sa amin, no? If you cannot use your microphone. But I do understand kasi earlier, meron tayong response na kuha sa participant natin na wala pa pang proper training. So maybe with training comes the information as well when it comes to the structure of the unit, of the records unit. So, siguro right now, kung ano lang yung na-observe nyo. Like, saan nanggagaling yung document? Sino nagbibigay sa inyo? Sino nagpapasa ng document sa inyo? Who sends the documents to you? Almost the same lang. I see. Almost the same. Okay. So, iba't iba ba yung taong in charge dito sa admin record session? Or kasi there is a high tendency na isa lang din. Yung may hawak ng admin, records, mail unit, current records unit, and storage. So hopefully, meron po kaming mga document custodian. Yun. For each section and division. Wonderful. Ito talaga yung ideal, no? Na hindi siya ibibigay yung responsibility is well divided and hindi siya ibibigay lahat sa isang tao lamang para maging systematic. So we also have to invest in people resources. Our organization, hold on, sorry po, di ko mabasa. Okay. Sa record section, bahala na po yung records ang magde-disseminate. Ayun. So, isa lang. Currently. Okay. Thank you, Sir Alvin. Thank you po. So, for now, no, isa pa lang. So, this may be the reason kung bakit minsan may mga na-ignore na messages, natatabunan ng mga bagong emails. Right? So, maybe there needs to be a more systematic division of labor and tasks. So, yun yung suggestion ko, to add more human resource. But then, if hindi talaga kaya, then maybe we can have a meeting on that, no? With the knowledge management unit. Yun kasi yung tawag sa company namin. Dati ICT. But now, knowledge management unit na. Kasi mas malawak na yung scope ng responsibility nila. But still, iba pa rin yung admin division, current records unit, iba-iba pa rin. And it really helps a lot in records management, no? Isa lang po sa amin. Yun yung danger. Thank you, Sir Marvin. Kasi hindi mo matatawag na unit structure kung ikaw lang ang mag-isa. Just like sa isang organization, hindi siya magiging organization kung ikaw lang ang mag-isa. So, what do? Maybe we can meet up with some of our colleagues and talk about how to disseminate some tasks. Na kung pwede pa nilang makuha ang isang task, no, kahit 10% lang sa duties and responsibilities nila. 100% ng duties and responsibilities nila, at least 10 or 5% lang doon. Merong designated for record section. Yan, para ma-divide naman yung tasks. So that, kaya nga, walang ma-miss out. Walang makaligtaan na document. Walang document na i-ignore lang natin. So now let's talk about hierarchy of information management. So earlier we talked about confidentiality, no? That's why confidentiality, hierarchy is very important when it comes to confidentiality. Kasi records management should be handled by records manager. So if they are the ones handling these types of records, then that means all types of records should go they should come across all of these records, no? Kaya before anyone can access, they should have a say about it. They should approve of it first. Yeah, for it to be systematic. Meron din naman po tayong archivist, no? They handle archives management. Archives meaning ito yung documents na hindi natin itatapon. We do not destroy it by any means because we need it in the future. And this has to be very descriptive when it comes to the policy of our appraisal and disposal. Dapat nakalagay doon kung ano yung description ng mga documents na dapat ilagay sa archive, no? And of course, hindi pa pwedeng ma-access ng records managers ang nasa archives unit or archive section without the approval of the archivist. Another is the librarian. So the librarian is usually in charge of publications management. Any form of publication, no? Usually the more publications you have, the more people you help, the next year you will also gain more budget for your projects. Right? So, kailangan din natin ng magmamanage ng publications natin. And if ever may mga complaints or may mga comments about our certain publications, we would be able to access it right away para ma-investigate agad. And we thank the librarian for that. But for us, no, we don't have the librarian. But we have our social media team. Sila yung in charge for the publications management, social media and communications team. Yan. So lastly, we have database management. This database management is handled by the information system managers. Yeah. So maybe you can designate your ICT knowledge management unit or whatever you call that department dito sa database management. Siyempre dito na nakalagay yung mga encryption, yung mga programs, mga programming details. So sila na po ang bahala doon, no? And maybe they can train other employees but sila yung head ng database management. Yan. So, saan ba dito currently yung nasusunod natin, yung na-follow natin? Which among these management do we implement in our organization? So, kahit isa lang po. Yan. You kindly type it here in the chat box. So in my experience, no, we have the database management. Of course, very important po ito. Kasi yung Zoom account namin, hindi po pwede na maraming gumagamit. So, pag may event, may webinar, kailangan mo nang magpa-book sa Zoom account. Yun. So, they are in charge of that. Yeah. Kung walang mag-handle nun, no one would be in charge of it, then mag-aagawan. Right? So, para systematic, kailangan talagang may mag-head ng isang database management. That's just an example naman po. Yeah. So, what about you po? I think meron talaga kayong experience with this? Meron talaga kayong na-observe na mga management unit sa inyong office. So, alin po ba dito sa apat yung existing sa inyong organization? MIS po yung database management nila. Sir Alvin. Meron din silang records managers. Yun. So, I take it na yung records managers, sila din yung in charge sa archive and publication. Ayun. So, thank you po, Sir Alvin. So, maybe these are some of the information that we can re-echo to our colleagues, no? And inform them na iba-iba dapat ang mag-handle nito for more systematic appraisal and disposal management. MIS also for Valdoria. Yan. Very important, I think, at the top of the list would be information system managers. Pinakakailangan talaga, no? Records managers din by Sir Marvin. Yan. Thank you po for all of your responses. But now we know, no, that iba-iba yung ito yung hierarchy ng information, and hindi po pwedeng dahil records manager siya, siya na rin ang in charge sa publication and archives, as well as the DBM or database management. Yun. So earlier we talked about the importance, the benefit, no, of appraisal and disposal. Now let's talk about the steps and how exactly we can apply it. So step 1 would be review of appraisal, retention, and disposal policy. So even if matagal na tayo sa work natin and na-memorize na natin lahat, no, ng mga steps na kailangan, better yet to be careful pa rin. So that's why always go back to step 1. Kahit ano pa yung susunod na mga steps, always go back to step 1. Review the policy. So that if someone asks you why you did that, then you can show them specifically what part of the approved policy did you get your action from, or did you base your action from. Another is the appraisal. Yan, hindi pa ito yung decision, hindi pa ito yung action, right? Appraisal, remember, is the way we scrutinize and try to process the information muna. So babasahin specifically yung date, yung time, gano'n siya ka-important, gano'n siya ka-urgent, or gano'n siya ka-obsolete na irrelevant na talaga siya, right? So if we think na kailangan na siyang i-dispose, or maybe we can still archive it, let's move on to step 3. If you already came up with a decision, no, of your own muna, then you can proceed to step 3. But remember, you have to investigate the document first. Okay, so after you have come up a decision of your own, you have to make an action plan. Yeah. So what do you do with the action plan? Of course, kapag natapos na yung action plan, inalagay mo doon na based on this policy, blah, 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 these records should already be disposed. Ayan. And ito yung schedule niya based on the policy. So we do not do it right away because step 3 is all about planning muna. Okay, planning. And 4th would be the approval. So once we have already come up with a plan, we can move it for approval. Maybe attach an approval form or any type of office form that would allow the decision maker to approve the disposal of the records. And the 5th step is to conduct the retention and disposal procedure. So it's either you archive it or you dispose it permanently. No? A records appraisal is the process of evaluating records to determine their value. Sabi nyo nga earlier, depende po sa document. So that means you are already applying the process of appraisal because you did not say clearly kung itatapon ba siya or hindi. You still evaluate its value. No? It's an essential step in records management as it helps to ensure compliance, efficiency, and preservation of historical information. Just reiterating what we discussed earlier. So this is the elaborative definitions and descriptions of steps 1 to 5. Step 1. The appraisal, retention, disposal policy of the organization should also support consistent and transparent to the existing policy of the national government. Ayun. So we base it on Republic Act 9470 by NAP. Okay, step 2, appraisal. This includes classifying the record value of the document and identifying use and purpose of the document. Step 3, action plan. This stage involves identifying whether the document needs to be retained, maintained, or disposed. Step 4, approval. This stage entails asking approval from high authorities or the management to conduct retention and disposal of documents. The 5th would be the conduct of retention and disposal procedures. The retention disposal tools of the organization should be clearly classified and stated in the policy. Hindi rin pwede na just because it's already for disposal, no? Wala na tayong copy ng document na yon. Siyempre, meron pa rin po. Pero, NAP encourages us to digitize it. Yan. So, meron dapat pa rin digitize na copy. Yan. Do you already do that? So, how do we digitize? We scan the document. We upload it in our database. Okay? Then, maybe we can dispose of it permanently if lagpas na talaga siya sa ating policy, no? Depende sa policy kung lagpas na talaga siya sa years of archiving. Okay? Sige po. So, let's make use of digitization. Alright, this time let's watch Record Keeping Basics by Inland Revenue NZ.
You probably didn't start a new business because you wanted to do paperwork, but it doesn't have to be a pain and it can contribute to your success. In this video, we'll explain what you need to do to keep on top of your record keeping. Meet Jeffrey. He runs a successful plumbing company. He loves chatting with his customers and driving around in his van with his plumber terrier. He also makes time for record keeping. He keeps a record of every business transaction, including all cash and non-cash sales and expenses. Jeffrey files his paper records at the end of the day, otherwise they're likely to be trampled by his terrier. If someone sends him a record electronically, he saves it to his computer, which he regularly backs up. Jeffrey tucks his records and financial statements away safely, just in case we need to see them. All records must be kept for at least 7 tax years. A normal tax year is the 12 months between the 1st of April and the 31st of March. These days, Jeffrey also enters everything into an accounting software package. He finds it easier as most of the work is done automatically and it makes it easier to do everything correctly. To meet his tax obligations, at the end of the tax year, Jeffrey files his company's income tax return and an IR10 financial statement summary form. He prepares his financial statement from the business records he's organised throughout the year. Financial statements are records that clearly outline the financial performance and strength of your business. Most businesses prepare a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet. The profit and loss statement shows gross income, expenses, and net profit. You include your net profit in your income tax return. The balance sheet shows your business assets and liabilities at the end of the tax year. Financial statements must meet minimum financial reporting requirements to ensure you pay the right amount of tax. You can find more information about these requirements on our website, ird.govt.nz. Preparing financial statements can be a bit tricky, so Jeffrey gets his accountant Sarah to do it, which allows Jeffrey to focus on what he does best, plumbing. Because his records are so well organised and entered into his accounting software, Jeffrey saves money on accounting fees. Sarah prepares the financial statements to meet the requirements. Financial statements aren't just about tax. Jeffrey can use them to identify potential problems and opportunities in his business. Every year, Sarah advises Jeffrey on ways he can grow his business and reduce risks. Jeffrey's plumbing business is going from strength to strength. Wrapping up, go to business.govt.nz to access tools and resources to help your business. And you can always learn more about tax at ird.govt.nz.
Ayun. Thank you po, no, for watching the video with us. So, ano po ba yung highlights ng video for you? Ano po yung pinaka natutunan natin sa video? One word, one phrase, one sentence is okay. Yan. So, any highlight lang po ng video, any takeaway po from the video? Yes po, Ma'am Gretchen, Ma'am Deborah, I think I haven't heard from you po. So, this time po, I'd like to hear from you. Ano ba sila? And maybe they are still preparing the response, no? But hopefully they would be able to send it later on. Ayun. So, thank you, Sir Santos. Making use of software, accounting software, or even if we are not in charge of accounting or financial statements, then more or less, no, magagamit natin yung isang EDRMS or software to make our records management easier, faster, right? And easily accessible by our users, no? User-friendly siya sa atin kasi hindi na masasayang yung oras natin sa paggawa ng mga iba't ibang folder sa drive. Minsan nakakalimutan natin yung mga file name ng folder. So, walang proper filing or naming system. Yun. Softwares could help us. Tama po si Sir Santos. Easy access of relevant information. Thank you po, Sir Marvin says, need maging efficient sa recording at maging innovative. Ayun. Any forms of innovation would be helpful, no, as long as it's relevant. So thank you so much po, Sir Marvin and Sir Santos for your for sharing your thoughts and experiences sa the insights from the video. So now let's talk about Republic Act 9470 or National Archives of the Philippines Act of 2007. So this is the law governing records appraisal in the Philippines. So in NZ, they also have their own law. And they have a website for it. So here we also have NAP. Republic Act 9470, otherwise known as National Archives of the Philippines Act of 2007, is an act to strengthen the system of management and administration of archival records, establishing for the purpose of National Archives of the Philippines and for other helpful purposes. The archives as they are organized today are as a result of the passage of Republic Act 9470 in 2007. So our records keeping, our organization in terms of records management is organized today, is what it is today, and is still being regulated today because of this Republic Act, no? So let's move on to section 41, penalties and violations. First and foremost, this is not to threaten us in any way, no? It just serves as a guiding statement, no, for us to be able to make sure that we comply, no, with the provisions of this act. Any public officer committing any of the unlawful acts or omissions mandated under this act shall be punished by a fine of not less than 500,000 pesos, but not exceeding 1 million pesos, or be imprisoned for not less than 5 years, but not more than 15 years, and or both fine and imprisonment at the discretion of the court. without prejudice to the filing of administrative charges that would result to such public officers' perpetual disqualification from public office, and forfeiture in favor of the government of his salary and other lawful income. So there's so much to look out for, no? So much to remember once we commit such violations against this act. So if you have time later on, you can read the provisions, the do's and don'ts. Maybe you can simplify it so that the members, the employees of our company would be able to easily understand it and apply it in their day-to-day records management duties. No, sometimes overwhelming kasi masyado ang magpagbabasa ng isang provision. So we just have to simplify it using do's and don'ts format. Another provision under Section 41, the violation of the provision of Section 44 or termination of office proven in a proper administrative proceeding shall be sufficient cause for removal or dismissal of a public officer, even if no criminal prosecution is instituted against him or her. So, hindi po pwede po na once we are being investigated, no, we can resign or do what we want. Kasi we are already under our actions, our next actions will then be provided for us by the court already. So, hindi na natin basta-basta pwedeng gawin yung gusto natin gawin, no, once we are already being investigated for violation. A person convicted of an offense under Section 44 may, in addition to any penalty imposed for violation, be prohibited by order of the court from having access to the National Archives for any period that the court deems appropriate. So that we cannot change, no, our mistakes or maybe alter some of the documents under investigation. So once we are already being investigated, hindi naman tayo personally, pwede rin yung organization natin. Once we are already being investigated, we can no longer have access to the documents, no, in the office. No public officer shall be allowed to resign or retire pending an investigation, criminal or administrative, or pending a prosecution against him or her for any offense under the Act or under the relevant provisions of the revised penal code. So ito na yung diniscuss natin earlier, no, that we cannot just do what we want if we are already under investigation. We would have a lot of risk, no, would be facing a lot of risks because of violations of this Republic Act. Okay, now let's talk about circular number one, provided on January 20, 2009. So ito po yung General Records Disposition Schedule. Ito po yung dapat state sa ating Records Disposition Schedule in our organization. So we pattern it here, no? Dito sa circular number 1, series of 2009. Sige, we have for the first column, the item number. Second column should be record series title and description. And the third column would be authorized retention period. So let's start with number 1. For example, acknowledgement receipts. The retention period should be filed with appropriate record series. What about the brochures, leaflets, and pamphlets? About or by the agency, yung mga gawa natin from us. For promotions and for publications, like yung mga trifold brochures, no? Mga ginagawa natin sa Canva or any type of editing software or tool. 1 year. provided one copy is retained for reference. Ayun. So usually yung copy na ito ay digitized. Calendar schedules of activities, 1 year. Certificates of appearance, very important, no? Kapag meron tayong official business, dapat, usually kasi yung certificate of appearance, sinihingi natin kung saan tayo pupunta. Di ba po? Para meron tayong proof na pumunta talaga tayo doon at hindi tayo naglakwatsa, no? Ginagamit natin ito, we attach it in the DTR for example, for the month of October. We attach it there para naman ma-process yung sweldo natin once we pass that, once we submit that sa DTR. So, just because tapos na yung October and December na, we dispose it right away. Kasi na-process na yung DTR, tapos na yung sweldo natin. Yun, 1 year dapat, according to NAP. Certification should also be 1 year, but this is just the general schedule, no? Certificate should last more than a year. In fact, permanent dapat ito. Especially kung meron tayong a-applyan na sa part ng organization for standardization, for recognition or awards. So, dapat permanent yung certificates. Yung personal naman natin na certificates, yung mga trainings, should also last 1 year. Kasi magagamit naman natin siya if meron tayong application for a certain position, no? 1 copy every version po. Which version po? For number 2 or number 3? Ideally, according to USEC po, no, from NAP, USEC Kablan, for 2. Ideally po, digitize lahat. So, 1 copy for each document. Ayan. Kung ang document ay pamphlet, then 1 copy po nito digitized. Ayan, naka-archive sa atin. Thank you so much po, team. Another is charts, no? Dapat permanent ito. This is also a basis for future decision making. Kaya yung charts permanent siya kasi meron siyang description ng functional objectives, organizational goals and objectives, no? Kahit 5 years ago, balikan natin yung vision mission statement natin, hindi na siya applicable now, but because yung mga previous actions natin, specifically previous activities and projects, naka-align doon sa vision mission statement. So, babalikan talaga natin yung functional and organizational objectives. Ayun, so, more of that here. Dito, you will be given copies naman po for each document. I mean, for this presentation. But you can also browse through the internet for the general records disposition schedule. Yan, included na dito lahat po ng ating document. So, no need to worry na guided naman po tayo with this provision. Okay, let's move on to the next subtopic. General records disposition schedule. Number 5, budget records, 3 years to 5 years. So, ano-ano ba ito? Yan. Examples po, allotment files, annual budgets, budget expenditures, budget issuances, general appropriations acts. Ayan. So, what about the financial records? Ayan. Mas mataas yung retention schedule niya. 10 years. So, examples po, abstracts and collections, remittances, bank slips, and many more. Okay, we also have permanent schedule, no? These are financial records, ledgers, journal entry, articles, and many more. Ayan. So before we take this quiz, let us take a break po muna and relax for about ilang minutes po ba? 5 or 10 minutes? Sige, 5 minutes I think would do for water break. Everyone, let's have a 5-minute break. See you after 5 minutes.
Are you a medical professional, an educator, an engineer, or a professional seeking specialized training programs? Stellar Training Consultancy Services is the right training center for you. STCS issues highly government-recognized certification programs that help you as a professional in your career goals. STCS ensures regulatory and statutory compliance to protect you as you skyrocket your career to the top. STCS offers various training modes such as face-to-face sessions, blended sessions, and virtual sessions to ensure the accessibility and availability of the training programs. All training programs offered by Stellar Training Consultancy Services are well thought and created professionally to ensure reliability and retention among participants. Stellar Training Consultancy Services bring excellence to professionals. Are you a medical professional, an educator, an engineer, or a professional seeking specialized training programs?
Hello everyone, good evening once again. Are you ready for our short quiz? Short activity lang naman, medyo intimidating naman yung quiz. Yan. Just a refresher po, no? Kung ano yung mga na-discuss natin. Sige po, let me just check if everyone's here already. So let's have Ma'am Christina. Can you give me a virtual thumbs up if you can hear me, if you're already on your desk and ready na po kayo for the next subtopic. Thank you po, Ma'am Christina. Let's move to Sir Marvin. Also ready, Sir Ives. Ma'am Deborah, Ma'am Ludeline, Ma'am Gretchen, Ma'am Valdoria, Sir Alvin, and Sir OJ. Ready na si Ma'am Ludeline, Ma'am Gretchen, and Ma'am Deborah. Perfect. Yan. Thank you, everyone. Let's move to our Okay. So here is your first question. In the typical records unit structure, which unit or department one is not under the record section? Ang bilis-bilis naman po. Disposal unit, disposal unit. Sige po. Ang nauna ay si Sir Santos, followed by Sir Ives and Ma'am Christina. So let's check po whether you are correct. Yun. Good job po, no? Tama po. Disposal unit is not part of the typical records unit structure. The disposal of documents and records are done typically with the archival and storage processes. So let's move to the next question. Congrats po sa nauna, Sir yes, Sir Santos. But thank you also para sa mga humagol. Yan. Siguro because of the internet, medyo mabagal lang na send, but thank you po. Let's move on to the next question. Yan. So which of the typical records unit structure is in charge of receiving, sorting, distributing, and releasing of the documents? Same options. Mail unit by sino bang nauna? By Sir Santos. Yes, by Sir Santos ulit. And followed by Sir Ives, Ma'am Ludeline, Ma'am Valdoria, and Sir Marvin. So let's check po. Perfect. Even with the break at hand, no? You still remembered well. The mail unit is an important element of the records keeping structure, although all are important naman po. They are tasked with the receiving, sorting, distributing, and releasing of documents. So dapat wala talagang miscommunication. Yung communications officer ng mail unit, and he, as much as possible, hindi siya nag-absent. Or if absent siya, may reliever talaga. Otherwise, no document will be released and it will impede organizational process. Okay, in the hierarchy of information management, who are the people you can find doing the publications management? Who's in charge? Who's in charge for publications management? Publications. Librarian. Perfect. Ideally, no? Librarian ang in charge. Thank you, Sir Santos. Sir Santos, lagi kayong first. Salamat po. This time followed by Ma'am Christina and Sir Ives and the rest of the plenary. So, thank you so much. Librarians play a vital role in the information management since they hold various important documents and helps the records manager in maintaining them. Okay, I guess this is the last question for our short activity. So, anong provision po ba ang NAP? Yung RA 9470 by Sir Santos, followed by Sir Ives. Yan. Sir Marvin as well. Thank you. All of your answers are recognized po. So, okay, let's let's hear the clap. But aside from the clap, now let's take a look at its description. Republic Act 9470, otherwise known as the National Archives of the Philippines Act of 2007, is an act to strengthen the system of management and administration of archival records, establishing for the purpose of the National Archives of the Philippines and for other purposes. Yeah, so we should base our appraisal and disposal retention schedule with the provision of this Republic Act. It's okay, Ma'am Valdoria. I think typo lang po ito. Typo error lang po ito. Ayan, blue daw by Sir Alvin. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Ma'am Santos. Salamat po. And apologies po for mistaking you, for calling you Mr. all the time. Ayan. Thank you po for your responses, everyone, and for interactively participating in our short activity. This time, let's move to to another subtopic. This will be about types of records and documents disposed. So the big question is, what are the types of documents disposal? Various organizations are involved in different types of document disposal. Their schedule and way of disposing documents is mostly greatly affected by the industry they belong and the amount of documents they produce at a certain time. So basically, depende po. Depende pa rin po. But once we ask our organization this question, no, we cannot say depende siya, right? Because we know our organization, we know how much papers we release, we receive information we receive every single day. So we would know which type of disposal method we should use. No, hindi pwedeng depende siya for our organization. So we really have to have a definite answer to this question so that we would know exactly, consistent po yung ating next steps. Consistent yung process natin of disposal. So we have here the methods of disposal. We have incinerating, pulping or macerating, pulverizing, shredding, landfilling, splashing, and deleting. So let's discuss them one by one. Okay, incinerating. So, sino po ba dito ang gumagamit ng incineration? Incineration involves burning a document. Destruction by incineration is the most complete and reliable method for highly sensitive documents and papers. Very classified, highly classified documents po na hindi po talaga siya pwedeng i-shred or gamitan ng any other type of disposal method. There should be no trace of that document at all. Incineration is the best solution if you are trying to process certain types of waste, including classified documents. So if we are not sure naman po whether our documents classify for this disposal method, then we have NAP for that. We can always email them, consult them for training. We can also consult them for advice and suggestions, no? Even if they cannot personally show up or coach us, no, in person, then maybe they can send some files, some PowerPoints that would be very helpful for us in choosing whether or in identifying, in appraising basically a certain document, if it qualifies for incineration or not. Another type is not the the typical type. Usually we see this in huge factories. Now, pulping or macerating, method of destroying paper documents by soaking them in water first and grinding them into a pulp. It is commonly done to documents with papers that can be recycled into paper match, or to form another clean sheet of papers out of it. So basically for recycling, I have seen this type of, and I have experienced this type of method, no? Because we have visited one innovative company here in Davao City. They make um abaca. They make textiles out of abaca. And sometimes they also make um any other types of materials out of paper. So, hindi yung nakita ko ay hindi ganito kaliit. Sobrang laking machine po nito, macerating machine. So, it's costly. It's costly. That's why we have to appraise our documents properly. Hindi po pwedeng bibili lang tayo just because we have undergone a training and we think that's best for our documents, no? We have to really sit down and talk about these things kasi it may cost us a lot, no? And yung allotment ng budget natin sometimes may mas mapaglalaanan pa siya. And maybe we can also use it for the employees, no? Minsan yung general fund, pag hindi naman siya naubos is hahatiin siya for the employees. Maybe add to our bonuses or more. That's just an example, no? So we really have to think thoroughly kung ano yung gagamitin natin na method. Next is pulverizing. Now, in this method, paper documents are ground into tiny particles first and combined with water to make a slurry. It may be relatively similar to pulping, macerating. However, this process turns the whole paper into powder-like particles before mixing it to water. So, technically, it's just like incinerating na wala talagang kahit isang letter ang mababasa. And aside from pulverizing, they also mix it with water. So they cannot use it for recycling purposes. So if our purpose is to recycle some materials, no, because we want to innovate or help the environment, then maybe pulping or macerating is the most used method, most useful method for us. If not, we can use pulverizing. So this is what we use in the office, no? Marami kasing files na although confidential siya, um we still use shredders. Pero careful lang din sa shredders kasi may mga ibang shredders na hindi heavy duty. So if hindi heavy duty ang ating shredder, then most likely we can still use those information. Hindi naman sa we are imagining negative things, no? But someone can still stick those papers like a puzzle. But this is just an exaggerated example. Shredding is a common method to destroy paper documents, and by far the easiest and most available option there is in a workplace. Yes, kasi may mga shredders na kasing liit lang ng legs natin, or maybe yung mas maliit pa talaga kaya lang nating bitbitin kasing liit ng printer. Right? So yun yung mga hindi heavy duty na shredders. So a shredder may cut in a single direction, producing thin strips the length of the document. Some shredders cut in a second direction, turning those strips into very small pieces. Be careful lang din kasi shredders are very sensitive, no, like scanners. Hindi po pwedeng, because it's not like a process of maceration, incineration. You have to take out the staple. You have to take out the wire. Kasi if not, then your shredder will not last long. It will be destroyed immediately. So be careful of the staple wires. Okay? And usually, kung hindi heavy duty ang shredder natin, we have to read the manual. Very important po, no, na sometimes kasi baka ma-excite tayo just just like me, I am guilty of this. I was so excited to use kasi bago nga yung shredder, no? But then unfortunately, hindi pala siya pwede ng 5 paper pagsasabayin. So maximum na pala is 3 lang. Yan. Meron din namang mga malalaking shredders, pwede sila up to 15 sheets. No, yung ilalagay doon. So but the difficulties in shredding is kailangan mo talagang maglaan ng panahon to throw all of those pieces, no, strips of papers. Kasi tatanggalin mo yung tray ng shredder, tatanggalin mo, tatapon mo na naman, babalik mo. Yan. So, hindi talaga siya tuloy-tuloy na process. Yan. It's up to you kung gaano naman. Kung hindi naman masyadong marami, then we can use shredder. Landfilling. Modern landfills are well-engineered and managed facilities for the disposal of solid waste. Landfills are located, designed, operated, and monitored to ensure compliance with federal regulations. Some companies choose landfilling for large amounts of documents that needs to be disposed. I have had no experience with this type of method. However, I think it is useful, no, kapag sobrang dami ng documents na hinahawakan natin. Kasi whether we like it or not, as per compliance, no, we have to follow with 5S, right? So when it comes to 5S, need po talaga na ma-organize yung ating large amount of documents. Kung obsolete na sila, yun na talaga sila magagamit, irrelevant na, 2013 pa, or it's not in any way related to historical documents, no? Then we have to give them up. It's not economical for us to still have them in the office and be space wasters. So, sayang din naman yung magagamit na space, no, for another type of useful document if they are occupying it. So, why not use landfilling? Kailangan lang talaga ng medyo mahal na amount for this. No? Malaking amount for this kasi we will still have to contact a company for landfilling, and it still has to, be regulated, no, by a certain government agency. So, marami tayong hihinga ng permission. So, it's a long process if we choose this type of method. Splashing of chemical compounds to documents to remove ink writings on the paper is done by a third-party service provider. So, we also have splashing as a method of disposal. It's commonly used by companies involved in confidential information, such as those that are in news and broadcasting. Who have experienced this po ba? Splashing. So, hindi talaga siya basta-basta, no? Even if we know how to do this, we cannot just use it kasi it involves chemical compounds, and we just have to be careful with and be proactive in terms of accidents that may take place in the workplace, no? Kahit konting chemical lang yan, it can be can be considered as hazardous for the employees there. Kasi hindi lang naman physical effect yung meron ng chemical compounds. They can also have effects in terms of scent, right? Once we smell them. So, be careful with this method lang po. Hindi naman siya advisable talaga especially for organizations na hindi ganon kalakihan ang space sa office. Tsaka dikit-dikit yung mga tables. And so we have to face it din naman. That's reality. There are some organizations na dikit-dikit yung desks ng mga employees. So there's nothing wrong with that as long as organized naman sa loob. But if we use this type of method, then definitely, no, there will be adverse effects, not only for the documents, but for the people as well. Okay, in terms of EDRMS, using software, deleting, remove or obliterate written or printed matter, which means to remove data from a computer's memory. Deleting method is a process to dispose electronic records or computer process data. Yan. So, hindi ibig sabihin no na meron tayong premium account or meron tayong unlimited na Google Drive space or software space, we would no longer delete. Buti sana kung software natin, they would follow the retention schedule or appraisal and disposal schedule of the NAP. Kung naka-program talaga siya to do that, no? We have our policy, we have incorporated it in the program, in the AI, and then the AI would do it for us. Buti sana kung ganun. But as long as it is not yet implemented, as long as hindi pa yun feasible, and right now it is not happening, we have to do the deletion. And this is also included in the value of 5S, no? Na hindi lang naman physical setup ng desk natin ang kailangan nating i-5S, also our computer drives and our computer storage. So here are some of the rules, no? Basic, fundamental rules in disposing records. So the process of destroying official records must be, number 1, authorized. Destruction of organizations records must be authorized by relevant persons in an organization. The primary tool for authorizing destruction is the retention schedule. All actual destruction must be documented in writing, including capturing information about which records were destroyed, when, how, and under which authority. Yan. So, very important itong questions na ito. Dapat kung may magtanong sa atin, we would be able to answer. When? How was it destroyed? Sino nagbigay ng permisyo? Sino nagbigay ng permission to destroy or dispose that document? Yan. So, minsan, wala yung mga CEO natin. But we have to dispose it right away kasi confidential siya. So, what do? That's why we have to use e-signatures. Sino ba gumagamit ng electronic signatures dito? Meron ba tayong mga electronic signature? Yan. Yes, meron tayo. Also, thank you Ma'am Valdoria, meron daw po siya. What about our CEOs and our regional directors or the head of our departments and divisions? So, syempre po, meron din silang electronic signature. Kasi not all the time, andyan sila sa office. You're very busy people. Right? So, NAP recognizes electronic signatures. However, dapat meron pa ring official signature, no? Yung handwritten signature yung ating bosses, yung ating mga boss. Aside from electronic signature. Kasi yun talaga yung official document, yung may handwritten signature. Pwede naman yung electronic signature, they are authorizing you to dispose that, no? Basta po pagbalik nila, you can present them that document and they will affix their handwritten signature for that. But yung electronic signature, hindi po pwedeng just because NAP recognizes electronic signature, we can use it right away kapag binigyan tayo, no? Dapat naka-enroll po sa DICT yan, or DTI ang electronic signature ng ating mga boss. Dapat enrolled po siya. To be sure na sa kanya talaga yun. And no one can abuse it, no? Or no one can duplicate it the way they want to. No one can forge. Right? So, dapat enrolled pa rin po yung electronic signature nila sa isang governing body. Next, irreversible. The more sensitive the records, the more certain you must be of the irreversibility of the destruction process. Failure to ensure total destruction may lead to the unauthorized release of sensitive information. So earlier we have discussed, no, na NAP encourages us na meron dapat one digitized copy ng isang document. even if you will destroy it already. But because we value reversibility, they still would like for us to keep at least one copy na naka-password. And hindi naman po siya strenuous na activity. Yung paglalagay ng password or encryption sa isang file. You can learn it on YouTube, or you can also learn it by asking your ICT team. Alam na alam po nila papaano, and mas simple rin po yung explanation nila kasi magagaling yung ICT team natin. Sa YouTube kasi medyo hindi simplified yung explanation. Mahaba siya, right? But if yung mag-explain talaga sa atin is from our ICT team, they would help us in placing passwords on certain documents in the easiest way possible because of irreversibility. So kahit pwede natin gawin yung isang document ulit, we have to accept the fact that there are documents that are so important na hindi talaga natin, especially yung may mga signatories ng mga previous na mga undersecretary, secretary, presidents, or any other authoritative figures. So, reversible na talaga yun. Minsan kasi yung authority na meron sa kanila in the past, wala na sa kanila ngayon. So, it would invalidate the document. Third, secure and confidential. The destruction of all records should be supervised, and the destruction of sensitive information should follow strict controls to protect privacy, confidentiality, and security. Yeah. So we already discussed this earlier, no? No need to expound on it more, as long as we have to remember lang na it should be supervised. Di talaga pwedeng atin-atin lang yung decision. We always have to consider the decision of the ones who are in authority. And timely. Yan. The regular and timely destruction of records is essential to maintaining an effective, transparent, and efficient records management system. Yan. So ito na yung inuulit-ulit natin earlier. It has to be timely. We have to be able to commit to our time management and organization skills in the office. But how do we do that exactly? No? So we have to follow the schedule of our retention, appraisal, and disposal management. Yun yung kailangan talaga nating sundin. But in the first place, wala tayong masusunod if it's not existent. If wala sa atin yung schedule, it's not approved and not recognized by NAP, then basically, we cannot say na timely yung disposal natin. As soon as records are deemed obsolete or superseded and can be destroyed according to authorized retention and disposal schedule, their destruction should not be delayed. Unless, of course, NAP would say hold, or the authority would say hold muna. I don't know what to do with that yet. Let me think about it. So that's the time we can pause for a minute, pause for a couple of weeks before wait for their decision on what to do with the document. Ayan. So, very important, no? Environmental friendly as possible. All media, including paper and digital materials, should be recycled if it is possible to guarantee that the data and information have been completely obliterated. So we can use the paper, example, in the method of splashing. Hindi naman tayo yung magsisplash. Yung chemists naman, or yung isang lab. So, pagdating ng paper sa atin, wala na po yung text na nasa document. Wala na yung content. So, we can recycle the paper already. It's environmental in a way. There are a lot of ways to be environmental friendly as possible. But I would not recommend this for the documents that are highly confidential. Hindi naman priority yung environmental friendly in terms of confidentiality. So maybe with other types of paper na hindi confidential, day-to-day use lang, like work schedule, and letters o intra-office communication, yung atin-atin lang din, not involving other people or other organizations, yun, they can be reproduced naman, right? Using scratch papers or papers that are not that much or not that expensive. Yung glossy talaga na magagandang papers, hindi naman kailangan. Pwede lang nga newsprint, di ba? So, kung kaya naman natin gawin yun, let's choose that. No? Destruction decision should also take into account environmental concerns, like for paper pulping method is highly recommended as the wet paper can be recycled. Oh, it's waste paper. Waste paper can be recycled. Okay. And that concludes our discussion on the methods of disposal and appraisal, retention, and disposal management. So I'd like to end. We would like to end the discussion with this question. What method of document disposal does your company follow? So alin po doon? Shredding and deleting. Perfect. Okay. Right now po, no? For documents online, documents on drive, we use deleting. Shredding, and deleting. Oh. It's most available. The least costly is shredding and deleting. Okay. Do you think your methods are sustainable? Will this be used with by your organization 5 to 10 years from now? Will it sustain your organization? Will it help your organization? So I recommend you to use SDG. So if it's difficult to answer the second question, I'd like you to use SDG. So now, go to Google, maybe when you have the time. Go to Google and search Sustainable Developmental Goals or Development Goals. This is implemented by United Nations. You just have to use indicators, and from those indicators, you would be able to come up with scores about SDG. So method, hindi lang naman disposal, records management, any projects that you have, you can look up SDG online. Those indicators under each goal, kasi 17 goals yung SDG right now. So under those 17 goals, merong specific, and you have to make use of those indicators to relate the description to your method. So once you read the indicators, you relate it to your method. Let's see if it follows SDG. If the SDG score is less than 7, then it's not sustainable. But if it's 7 up, I mean more than 7, then that means it's sustainable. Okay? Sige. You can look it up right now already. But for now, while looking it up, I'd like you to turn on your camera. Turn on your camera because we will have a photo op. And any questions po before we leave or before we take that photo op? Nahanap niyo na po ba yung sustainable developmental goals? I mean, why do I always say developmental? It's development. Perfect. Okay, so later on you take the SDG scorecard. Sige, I guess with no questions here in the chat box, I invite you all to visit our Facebook page for more trainings and be updated po, no? With our services. Salamat po for choosing STC as your training provider. 3, 2, 1, smile! Wow, ang ganda nating lahat at ang pogi nating lahat sa pictures. Thank you po everyone and good night.